Hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you're connecting from. Thanks for joining us for the Windows 365 AMA from anywhere in the world, just like you can your Cloud PC. I'm Christian Montoya, your host for today, and I'm joined by an amazing cast. I have three amazing people, Donna, Elaine, and Pavithra. I'll let them go ahead and introduce themselves. They're friends of the AMA. Maybe you've seen them before, but if not, Donna, can you start?
Sure. So, Donna Ryan, I'm a senior PM on our Windows 365 CAT team, which means I more or less work with customers, help them get unblocked and get Windows 365 deployed successfully within their environment.
I can go
Hi,
next. Oh,
okay, you can go
I
next.
can go next. I'm Pavitra. I'm also a senior PM with the Windows 365 team, and my primary focus is end user experiences on the web, as well as around using applications like Teams and video streaming on the Cloud PC.
Hi, I'm Elaine. I'm also a product manager on the Windows 365 team and owning the localization feature to help end users use the VM in whatever language they like.
Perfect. Yeah, thanks, folks. Yeah, it's been a while since we've all been here. Hopefully, everyone had a restful, happy holiday season. If folks are celebrating the Lunar New Year, hopefully you're having a great break as well. So, Elaine, I actually wanted to check in on what you just mentioned. The language and region feature. I know that we've had some updates since November. Can you talk to us a bit more about that?
Yeah, so since November, we've fully rolled out to GA the language pre-configuration to both our enterprise and business offerings. So admins can configure the VMs at provisioning time for the end users in whatever language, let it be Chinese, Spanish, French, whatever they'd like. And this includes both the Windows operating system and also the M365 apps. So that's awesome, and hope everyone enjoyed that feature.
That's perfect. I remember early on that was also a huge feedback item. So it's people like you, people that join us, people that listen in, that post on our community. I remember triaging and working with Elaine on that. So keep doing that. And we want to hear all your questions and feedback. Um, and then also, Pavitra, you mentioned that you're doing team stuff, right? I think we had an exciting announcement this week.
That's right. For the longest time, we used to, we have had desktop sharing on Teams available to customers. But it always came up with this, issue of having privacy, right? I mean, there was a privacy issue of sharing your whole desktop. And most of our customers have been providing feedback that they want for app sharing. And so as of this week, Teams on Windows 365 supports app sharing. Please go ahead and try it out. We also have a blog post that provides you more information on what the prerequisites are. It's very simple. You just need the latest client to connect to it, as well as the latest version of Teams to use it, and you will be good to go.
That's awesome. Yeah, I'm excited about that. Because I mean, I use my Cloud PC basically 24/7, so that's gonna be really cool. And Donna, just to round it out, any top customer insights as the new year begins, as people start to use their Cloud PC more or looking into it, anything that you've heard in the first couple weeks of the new year?
Oh, well, let's see. We're still hearing customers are asking about GPU and when that makes sense. If that's an AVD thing, a Windows 365 thing, we still have the usual, networking considerations and making sure that, all packets aren't being routed on premises if you're trying to do content inspection. I know we've been running a private preview on an upcoming feature, uh, which the name still hasn't been quite settled yet, but it's going to be pretty exciting. We're going to have the going into a public. We're starting to work on that, hopefully releasing that soon, with some more details to come out.
Yeah, I think that's well, kind of what you mentioned. I mean, it's all about the user experience. And even for the folks here, I'm just gonna lean into a little bit. We know we've heard across the board about wanting to use GPUs for your cloud PCs. We want to just really understand what those scenarios are. whether it's content creators in your organization, whether it's engineering, CAD. Like we really want to hear those use cases. That way we can cater to that. But yeah, we've heard GPU. There's, I'm sure on the ak.ms, or sorry, the W365 feedback, I'm sure it's there if you want to upvote it. We just want to keep hearing use cases. That way we can get a better understanding of that. So perfect. All right.
Yeah,
Oh no, sorry.
I
Go
guess
ahead. Yeah.
just to chime in onto, as we have these conversations regularly with our customers, and we really do need to know the why, the what's and the whys. You know, a GPU for, you know, Adobe graphics design is not the same GPU as needed for CAD. So, you know, when you're having those conversations, that really is the what we really need to understand is the what's and whys. So, you know, please share as much information. It's only going to make the product better.
Exactly. Yeah, and well, while we're on the topic, we received a very timely question on the AMA. So Patrick asked, will there soon be an option for a GPU SKU for Windows 365? So just the same guidance. We don't have plans yet. We're still investigating. Again, especially what Donna and I are mentioning, just the use case, and what the need for it is. So that way we can have a good offering for it in Windows 365. If you need that right now, Azure Virtual Desktop, you can choose which VM you can use, including the GPU enabled ones. But for Windows 365, we want to better understand it so we can offer it as a piece of the service. But yeah, if you could reach out on tech community or Windows 365 feedback, we'll be listening in. And just to round it out, selfishly, I also have an announcement since November. In December, the Windows 365 team in our Windows 365 Enterprise offering has started supporting single sign-on in public preview, which is super exciting. And so single sign-on to Azure AD join Cloud PCs. Yeah, I know. And it's such a cool experience. Pavitra, I know that you helped me on that feature to make sure that our web client is also can use that feature. So thank you. And please go use it. It's super cool. Azure AD based. It's basically magic.
It is.
So I'm stoked about it. Again, selfishly, it's something I worked on, but I just think it's really cool. So okay, so let's see. Another question we had come in from the community. Will the Windows 365 app support multimedia redirection soon? So Pavitra, is this for you?
Yes, it is. And Windows 365 app will support multimedia redirection as long as the multimedia redirection is available on your Cloud PC. The plugin is available on your Cloud PC. You can either use the RD Client app or Windows 365 app, and you will be able to use multimedia redirection. It, of course, will support it. We support it only for certain websites, and you're welcome to go and see our documentation to see exactly what the set of websites are. And we are constantly increasing the breadth of our coverage. I think at this point of time, we actually cover most of the sites. So please go ahead and check our documentation. But yes, Windows 365 app will support multimedia redirection.
And just for folks new to the area, new to the space, can you give a brief description on what multimedia redirection is and why it helps the user experience?
Oh, yes, definitely. So multimedia redirection provides our customers with a high performance, resource efficient video playback experience. So currently, if you don't have multimedia, redirection, if you are streaming, video, you can, very easily see it's very glitchy. When you have multimedia redirection, what happens is that on the virtual machine, the video does not get rendered and it gets passed through to the actual client device. And the client device is the one that is responsible for rendering the video. This kind of helps you with reducing the latency. And so the glitchiness goes away for, perceptively, the video experience is a lot better. And so we would need to, I mean, initially we had to go through site by site and see what was the most used site by customers and then support it. But it's been in development for a while now, and we have really done a great job of including as many sites as possible for end users to use.
Okay, perfect. So basically, instead of displaying, play the video, displaying it, repackaging it, sending, we're just, optimizing for it. That sounds
Exactly. We're just optimizing it, making sure it's not doubly rendered, doubly decoded and stuff like that. And we're just doing a media bypass
perfect. Okay,
directly on the device.
nice. Yeah, that helps me as well because I'm also a noob in this area.
Yes. And this is only supported on the Windows app and RD client on Windows. It is not supported on the web currently with the web client.
Perfect. So another question that came in is from a user. I watched the technical takeoff video on zone recovery and restore options. Is that available for the business edition? I'll defer to either Elaine or Donna. I actually don't remember. Elaine, do you remember?
I'm not sure about this one either.
Nor am I.
Yeah, I same thing. I do know. What I do know is in the enterprise, offering, there are default kind of snapshot time periods, and then there's an option to let the user perform a restore operation. So that's actually a really good question. We will poke our folks in on our team to get you an answer. Whether that was the community or here, we'll get back to you on that. So yeah, you got us. Let's see. And then also, just as a highlight, I know that we're doing the AMA here. Please continue posting questions in either the formats of the tech community or also the Windows 365 feedback. And so, as we have some more questions. Oh, another question came in. Do we have any updates on offline mode? Does anyone?
We're still working on it. It's on the roadmap. There's been, a bunch of demand for it. The work is going on, but as you can imagine, to try to implement a feature with that level of synchronization and functionality is not a quick feat, and that's something that we want to make sure that we get just right. So we're working on it. Once we have something that we can share, we absolutely will. Sort of related to that, because that offline mode was announced along with pinning and boot to cloud. Boot to cloud is coming very soon. I believe we're already in private preview on that, if not kicking that off very shortly. So those newly announced, not quite moonshot, but some really big announcements that we made last year, they're really starting to come to fruition this year, and it should be an absolute game changer for those that are either thinking about or already have deployed Windows 365.
Yeah, because I think we announced that, back in March, April. And so it does take time to make sure those experiences are just right with Windows. As Cloud PC is giving you access to, a really great Windows experience in the cloud. Like Donna mentioned, I know that the folks that are working on it are making sure that it works and it just works. So yeah. So hopefully we'll have more on offline, like specifically offline. Hopefully we'll have more information soon, as Donna mentioned. When we do have info to share, we'll post it on our roadmap or other public spaces. I guess I did want to highlight there was another question that came in on boot to cloud. It was, will boot to cloud be supported on existing Cloud PCs, or does it require a new Cloud PC? I don't have those details. That is something I'm sure our colleagues are thinking about working on. Unless you all have any information, I'd probably just defer to once we have that public information ready. Because I'm really not even sure at this point.
Yeah, we are not sure. I think you need to wait for public preview. We will definitely have documentation and all the information. And you can be assured that we will make this as unobstructive as possible, right? We definitely want to lower the bar for adoption. So it's easy for you to adopt. So we'll do all we can to ensure you can continue to use your Cloud PC, but there might be some cases where we cannot. But wait and watch our documentation, and when we go public preview, you'll be able to get more information.
And Don, I think I cut you off. Was there anything you wanted to add to offline or this boot to Cloud PC question?
No, I'm just pretty stoked about the boot to cloud and what that means from from an end user experience, from an administrative experience, being able to essentially have a Windows based thin client. Freeing up admins from having to worry about where their corporate data is. Is it on the device? I've had quite a few customers that have been trying to figure out how to do something similar and natively, and now that this is coming out, it's an absolute it's an absolute win for our customers.
Yeah. And actually, so I wanted to quickly switch gears. Elaine, one thing that we were talking about earlier that I know resonates with users is having that experience that's native to them. You mentioned that you worked on all the language and region features. Are there, I mean, if you can share, are there any other ideas that we're thinking of to continue making that experience, feel local, feel native to the user? And yeah, are there anything that you can share there?
Yeah. Thanks for asking. There are a couple items that we're investigating. So, given like how Windows localization is built, there's still some apps that are not localized, such as the Microsoft Store. But a lot of people use the store, so we're working with the Windows team on if that can be localized as well. Some other items that no promises here that we're investigating is some regions of customers are requesting the ability to support multiple languages. So those multi-language speaking regions would prefer having more than one support language. And that's something we're looking into also. Another item I can think of on top of my head is right now we support 38 languages. But in this wild world, we have way more. So looking into if we can support more of that to bring more folks on the board. Yeah.
Got it. Yeah. Yeah. No promises. But I mean, this is good for you all listening. If any of those really resonate with you, we want to take any direction that will really help you. So, yeah, if any of those resonate, please go to the W365 feedback, and please vote or upvote any of those that would work for you. So, thanks for sharing, Elaine. Again, no promises. Okay, so now I'm going to circle back to Pavitra now. We have a question. So Carlos said, congrats on releasing app window sharing for Teams. Thank you, Carlos. Will there be support for share any window from the taskbar soon? Similar to like what you could do on local Teams.
Right. This is a great question. Currently, we do not support it. In our initial investigation, it looks like it is something that the operating system needs to support. So we need to, it is definitely in our backlog. We're looking at it, but it is not something that I would say is going to come very soon. So keep a lookout on it. We definitely have this on our backlog, and we are investigating. But I cannot, promise that it will be available anytime soon.
Got it. Cool. Thank
Yeah.
you. Yeah, if I'm being honest, I haven't used that feature much, but I know obviously as it gets more in the product more, I'm sure more people will use it, and we'll start seeing that telemetry come in of just how many people would use that feature. So very exciting.
Definitely, it's a very it definitely increases usability, I would say. The experience is a lot better when you're just on the app and say, hey, I want to share it. I think we are taking baby steps, first desktop sharing and then app sharing directly from Teams. So definitely down the road we'll support it. It is just not going to be immediate. That's all.
Sounds good. Let's see. Going back to boot to cloud from Nigel, is boot to cloud and these new features coming to just Windows 365, or will they land with AVD as well? Does anyone have any input on that or any info? I don't know. I don't know where it is, and also I would assume that we would have more information once we have public documentation. But anyone else have any comments?
I know it's at least for Windows 365 first because it requires the Windows 365 native app, which is available in the store, which is not the app that we're using to connect into AVD. So, I don't know future plans if we plan to incorporate that, but it is going to be just Windows 365 at first.
Got it. Yeah, and again, as we have more information,
Mhm.
we'll share that. But a nice quick plug, Donna. Use the Windows 365 app. It's fun.
Yes, absolutely.
It's the same experience you get in the web, but local. So please do use it. And again, it's still in preview, but we want to get all the feedback for the app. That way we, fix anything that needs fixing, add any good customizations that you need, but still in preview, but we're want to get it out to GA for you all soon. Oh, and this is a question for me. Yay.
Mhm.
We are very excited about the Win365 SSO preview too. That's good to hear. Thank you. The experience is great. The biggest showstopper for adoption is the disconnect on screen lock behavior. Just for reference for everyone, with the new single sign-on behavior, instead of the Cloud PC locking and then kind of keeping you at the PC's lock screen, instead it immediately disconnects you and you have to reconnect through the app, the Windows app or the web client. So that's a showstopper. Will it be possible to lock and unlock the session when using SSO at some point? Will it be possible at some point? Probably. We've received that same feedback from a lot of other customers as well. So we're looking into how we can solve that. I'm gonna do the plug again. W365 feedback. We do want to see just how many other folks are affected by that behavior. So I'll go check that. I want to make sure to see how many upvotes there are. But we are hearing that from different customers, different channels. So it's something we're going to look at. Again, as Elaine mentioned, no promises, but we are looking at it. We're looking at it because it seems to be a user experience that you all want to see improved. So a question from the community: how do I get a trial license for Windows 365? I am very much going to defer this to maybe Donna. I don't know if it depends on the customer channel or whatnot, but Donna, do you have an insight on how to get a trial license?
If you're working with your Microsoft account reps, you can absolutely ask them. If you are not working with anybody at Microsoft and still want to kick the tires on a trial, you can find our webpage to request the trial for the business SKU, so you can at least experience the end user portal, some of those functionalities. You can just Google Windows 365 trial and it'll be the first. I'm sure that there's an AKMS link somewhere. I don't have it on the top of my head, but that's how I would go about doing that.
Cool. Yeah, I figured you would have a much better idea than me. Let's see here. So there's a question on the chat. Any plans for app streaming for Windows 365 like you can do with Azure Virtual Desktop? If I'm reading the question right, I think you mean the remote apps and where you publish individual apps compared to the full desktop. Does anyone have any info on this one?
Well, we don't make the decision on how the business goes. It's called Cloud PC for now, Windows 365 for now. So I would say, never say never. But this is not something that's being planned for anything immediately, I would say.
Yeah, I mean, Pavitha, everything you've been mentioning, like all the team experiences, everything that we're working on is making sure that that desktop experience, it feels like your local PC as much as we can. So, yeah, from everything we know it's desktops, those remote apps. Love to hear on how you would want to use those, but yeah, we're really focused on that Cloud PC desktop experience.
Yeah. So, if you want any of this, as Christian mentioned, go ahead and, provide us your feedback. And, we are constantly looking at it, whether you want the, app sharing from the window or from, app streaming. Please go ahead and provide this feedback to us. And, it will definitely depend on what your use case is. So, if possible, in your feedback, provide us your use case, and then, it'll help us prioritize better.
Just to bring up, I guess, an observation with some of these questions, they seem to be, when are all these features coming to Windows 365? And there's legitimate questions, but when we first started working with Windows 365, there's lots of discussions about AVD versus Windows 365, and it's not a versus. It's really it's a better together story. If you need remote app, cool, go with AVD and use Windows 365. Stream your apps to Windows 365. Both solutions are fantastic. Yeah, I was a huge fan of AVD years before Windows 365 hit the scene. So just because it's not in Windows 365 doesn't mean you shouldn't be using it. Same thing with GPUs. There's fantastic stuff that AVD does and does well that we don't have. So I guess my recommendation for those that are looking for the remote apps and the GPUs is go use AVD. It's wonderful, and those features that you need, they're there today.
Yeah, I think so Pavitha and I, we also helped build Azure Virtual Desktop. So I know that maybe I'm speaking for you, Pavitha, but I still value and love Azure Virtual Desktop. It's still my little, I still care about it a lot. It's very powerful platform. Again, it's so flexible. You can do it, whatever you need. Like the question was for remote apps. You can run like Windows Server on that if you really need to. So like it's really flexible. So just echoing what Donna said, it's not a versus. We actually are seeing a lot more adoption of both. Windows 365 for some of the ease of use and mergers and acquisitions to get people ramped up with a full desktop experience sooner, but then using Azure Virtual Desktop for access to specific applications and workloads and databases, or sometimes a jump box solution. So yeah, it's really just better together.
It is. I share your sentiment, Christian, and think about it as AVD gives you a lot of flexibility. If you are very well versed in Azure technical stuff, you should go and explore it. Windows 365 gives you certain experiences that are tailored for the kind of customers that we have been reaching out to. But you should explore both and see what fits best for you and your use case.
Yeah, and then while we're on that note, I do want to highlight next month's AMA. Obviously, we have a great AMA going on here, but also next month we're going to have special guests to cover Azure Virtual Desktop and Windows 365 in government. And so yeah, please join us for that one. That's February 22nd. That's going to be ak.ms AMA Windows 365 Gov, and it's there on the ticker. So please join us there as well as we talk about these better together and how to choose, and we'll have experts on that call as well. Let's see. Another question that came in. Does Windows 365 have plans to serve customers that have less usage per user account than 33%? That's oddly specific. We have many contractors. I think I see where this question is going. I'll keep reading it. We have many contractor user accounts that may only need to log on a few times a month, or even a few times a year. Will these use cases will these use cases need to use Azure Virtual Desktop pools to make economic sense? I feel like that really depends. If you have joined us for the technical takeoff back before the new year, we did announce our new flex or what's it called, a shared use offering that we're planning on doing. I think we're still finalizing the name,
Yes.
but we
Yeah.
are trying to do where we can have it on this kind of shared workload. So really 33% is maybe kind of close to that. So we are trying to do optimizations there. Donna, do you have inputs on?
I've got plenty of inputs. I'm on the V team for shift work, and so I'll add
Shift
some.
work? Yes,
Yeah,
got
so I'll
it.
add some color to that. The name still has yet to be finalized. So there's internal names. There's tentative public names. So we'll call it for shift work for right now, because that's what we were calling it during the private preview. And so, to be really clear and upfront, this is not multi-session. Multi-session is the realm of AVD. Full stop. So when we're talking about shared in Windows 365, we're sharing a license, not the virtual machine. Big distinction. And so your end users will always have their own cloud piece. So they're not sharing it. You don't have to get an FS Logics. You don't have to worry about the resource allocations. It deploys nicely. The big takeaway is users share one license. So right now we have that set up for 3 users per one license. So you could buy 10 licenses and serve 30 end users. Now the caveat here is not all 30 can use it at the same time. As it stands right now, one user is using that one license, so the other 2 need to wait. So it works really well in in the shift work where you have folks doing 8-hour rotations, organizations that are trying to do follow the sun model for call centers, shared PC scenarios where your workers may not be on there 8 hours a day. There's lots of good use cases. We started to flesh those out during the private preview. Public preview is coming up, and hope to flesh out some more of those scenarios. But yes, that is a huge feature coming out relatively shortly. So yeah, we are absolutely on top of that one, and I'm super excited about that one.
Yeah, thanks for reminding me of the name of it. I coming back from the new year, like I have New Year fog sometimes. But I think to answer the rest of that question from the post, you mentioned or the question mentioned, will this be a good use case for users that maybe log on once like a few times a month or a few times a year? Do you have thoughts on that, Donna?
It could be, you know, I guess that kind of depends on the administrative experience that organization has. If you're already well versed in the ins and outs of of traditional VDI and know how to spin up and spin down host pools, you probably could save more on AVD. If you don't want to put through that effort, or don't have the expertise, or you just want the push button simplicity of Windows 365, go Windows 365. Again, it's not a versus, it's kind of an either or, and which one really fits the organization's needs.
Got it. Yeah, and I know that we are a technical session, not a marketing session, but I have continued hearing that there's some more flexible licensing options in general with some of the new like Microsoft MCA customer agreements. So maybe that's another avenue to do like maybe flexibility in your workload again if you're already well versed in managing VMs and host pools. AVD probably is a great option, but also there are some other like licensing based things that hopefully can match flexibility if you kind of like the fixed the fixed price per user per month license of Windows 365.
Mhm.
And that's actually going to take me to the next comment. So not necessarily a question, but a comment from the community. AVD is great, but for users that want a flat rate option, Windows 365 is a better solution. Plus, the Intune integration for Windows 365 allows easier IT management. That's great to hear on the last part for sure, because we have specifically focused, and I also for a while specifically focused on making sure the integration with Intune with Windows 365 was seamless or felt natural. So I'm glad that you also think so. But yes, Windows 365 is per user per month. Whether it's the one user one license, or what Donna mentioned with the shift work is multiple users sharing one license and therefore alternating when they can use it. Okay, whew, that was a fun topic. Let's see. Another question that came in. Newly provisioned AD join Cloud PCs can use SSO for the Cloud PC login. Will there be a path to SSO for Cloud PCs that were already deployed or already previously deployed? That is also a great question. That is another huge piece of feedback we've received as part of the preview. So we are taking a look at how we can do that. Just even up till now, the way that we've brought in new features to Windows 365, specifically, really anything that came into the provisioning policy has traditionally been, well, you have to provision a new Cloud PC or re-provision existing Cloud PC in order to pick up the settings. And so we were, trying to follow that model with a single sign-on. But we have, again, received this feedback of that is kind of challenging. We really do want to single sign-on. In some cases, even some customers need to use single sign-on, but have existing Cloud PCs. So we're looking at it. No date yet on when that comes in, but we actively are looking at that to see how we can support that.
Christian, just out of curiosity, with the single sign-on, it's currently AADJ only. Is there any plans to go with hybrid?
Yeah, there definitely is. So the quick answer is yes, we are. And actually, if you do use Azure Virtual Desktop right now, you can use single sign-on for either Azure D-Join machines or hybrid Azure D-Join machines. One of the key pieces about Windows 365 is, again, we continue to make the experience that way. It's seamless. If you bring your network and hybrid join your machines, if there's anything on the network that's not configured correctly, we want to make sure we can alert you and let the admin know, please go fix this before you continue. And so that's actually kind of the reason that ADJ, the single sign-on to Azure D-Join machines came first. With hybrid Azure D-Join, there's an additional prereq that you must have, and that's to set up the Azure D Kerberos service. If you want to learn more, we do link to this in our docs, in our identity authentication docs. And even in the Azure Virtual Desktop, they also link to the same documentation so you can learn more about how to set it up for hybrid. But essentially, we want to make sure that we have that curated experience to make it easy for you to provision and know that the connections are going to work to your single sign-on connections are going to work to your hybrid joined machines. So great question, Donna.
Thank you.
While we're at this topic, Christian, you mentioned that it's single sign-ons available for enterprise Azure AD Join. Is it available for business? And if not, do we have plans to make that happen?
Man, I thought I was the moderator. Look at you go. So another great question. So we do have plans to make it available for business. So right now it's in, as you mentioned, public preview in the enterprise offering. We're trying to figure out the best route to make it available in business, whether that's to add a new option to organization settings, or have this kind of be a default experience. Because again, our business offering is really catered for low-touch admins, or low-touch admins are managed by a partner. So we're trying to still understand what the best route is. So we will bring it to business. It's just a matter of how we do so. So still timelines TBD, but business will be getting this single sign-on behavior because again, it is part of the ease and use of Windows 365 of your Cloud PCs. All right, back to me asking questions. So actually real fast, again, as we're going to the AMA, again, you can ask questions here on the AMA channel itself. But also we do also take a look at just the tech community, some of the discussions there. So if you have longer questions or longer lived questions, You can also post there, and we'll also pick that up, as well as what gets posted here on the AMA channel. So from the community, is it possible to customize the Windows 365 web client at the web client at windows365.microsoft.com? We have a customer who would like to customize two things in the client. One is remove the session settings dialog that appears when a user logs in. And two, they would also like to remove the upload file to Cloud PC option in the web client toolbar. So Pavitha, I'm going to defer to you for these.
Yes, yes. I hear you. I hear this feedback. Multiple times I've heard this from customers. The thing with the web client is, currently you cannot customize it. The splash screen that you see when you first connect to your Cloud PC is, not something that we can control. Initially, we were looking at a feature where, exactly as you asked, right? We look at what redirections are enabled for the user and then only show the ones that they can actually enable or disable from the user side. But it's not possible before connecting to the Cloud PC, unfortunately. I mean, it's just not feasible at this point. And so what we have done is, instead of getting into a state wherein the user has opted into something, but the organization has disabled it for the end user and the user thinking it's an error within the Cloud PC, we are providing active feedback. We are working on providing active feedback to the end user saying that, yes, you enabled a particular redirection, for example, file transfer, but your organization has disabled it, so you cannot use this button or you cannot use this particular redirection. So that's the kind of feedback that we want to provide the end user, so that way they know that whatever they did on the splash screen is just not going to be effective within the Cloud PC. But this is great feedback. We will definitely look at seeing whether we can, conditionally show any of the redirections that the organizations have enabled for the end user or not. Currently, it is not feasible.
Yeah, and just to maybe to confirm, was it because all the settings that go to the device itself that, like through like settings catalog or GPOs, is that the big piece that we don't know about?
Yes, couple of things actually. One is settings can be done through GPOs, and we will not know that unless and until the actual, redirection is enabled after the Cloud PC session is established. The second thing is we have a bunch of redirections. Give me just 1 minute. I'm sorry, 1 second.
Yeah, I think the GPO, what Pavitha is mentioning. Are you back?
All right. Yes, I'm
Perfect.
right here. Sorry, I had to ask my son not to come into the video stream. Real life problems. So as I was mentioning, the second part of it is that the splash screen does not allow us to, at when we show the splash screen, we cannot read into what is happening within the Cloud PC because we have not established a connection directly to the Cloud PC yet. So the splash screen shows up before the connection to the Cloud PC, and we can only read anything about redirections after the connection to the Cloud PC. And hence this, this limbo state that we are in, where we want to make sure that the end user knows that these are the redirections that they can or cannot enable. And then, we have to go back and read the redirection, say, yes, you enabled it, but your organization has disabled it. But that's the best we can do currently, but we are constantly keeping an eye out on feedback. So please provide it, and I will definitely take this into consideration. If there is a way to do this feasibly, we will ensure we can do that.
Perfect. Yeah. And I think even the original question poster mentioned that it's because, like you mentioned, there's just confusion when they already block it. Why show the user the option and mislead them? So, yeah, we definitely, Pavitha, I support you 100%. I would love to have a feasible way to do that and just make the user experience better. So, yeah, there's a feedback link. And so Elaine, actually, here's one for you. So we noticed that in the provisioning policy, if you go to the second tab and go to image, it pre-selects Windows 11 now, which is really cool. What other improvements in optimizations have we made in the image area?
Awesome. I also personally love that feature now. Whenever I create a new provisioning policy, it just auto selects a few less clicks to do. And especially because we receive feedback that customers are confused on which gallery image to select, or should they do custom image or gallery image. So this just solves the problem. Another potential improvement we're looking at is because every year Windows releases a new Windows operating system, and admins now have to manually go back to existing policies to update the image to the latest one. So looking to automate that as well, so customers don't have to do that manually every year.
Do you mean sort of like a latest, like almost like a latest image, and then it always picks up the newest one? Is that kind of what you're thinking?
Yeah. So an available option to checkmark that, so it always uses the latest version as opposed to having to manually change that.
Got it. And just diving in a little bit more, even without the full yearly releases, or that cadence of full Windows, do the gallery image, do we always update those like over month for the Windows like security updates?
Yeah, that's an excellent question. Every month we pull down the latest security updates, feature updates, and it's built in always in the gallery image, and that's available today as well. It's not a new upcoming feature. Yeah.
Okay.
So you can ensure that the gallery images that you're using is always securely patched to the latest available.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, one of the reasons I especially as a feature owner value that is because I remember the single sign-on that we released in December had some dependency on some security updates coming in September, October of last year. So that's good. I mean, good for me and good for other feature owners as well, because then whenever those get picked up, added to Windows, it's there automatically. And then for you as admins, not having to do all these extra steps. So awesome. That's really good to know, Elaine. Thank you. Let's see. One question I have is I've run into a few situations where having a restart option from the start menu would be nice. Is there a way to enable a restart button on Windows 11 Cloud PCs? Elaine, actually, I feel like we've talked about this a little bit. Do you have any insight here?
So the question's restart option.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, got it. Yeah, so I can talk to this one. The reason why we choose to hide the restart option is when a Cloud PC restart, sometimes it could be in a disconnected state, and that would be very problematic because our service will not be able to reach the service to get it back to you. So we recommend today that in the web client portal, there's an option to restart. So not within your Cloud PC, but on the web client portal, on the 3 ... I believe, on each Cloud PC, there's a restart button that more safely performs the restart option for you without losing the connection to your device.
Yeah, and for the folks curious or wanting this feature, I mean, Elaine, maybe I'm speaking for you. I would love to understand if there's like a specific use case, specific reason that you'd want the restart there when you hit the little Windows button and whatnot. If you have any information on that button as opposed to what Elaine described, the restart button on the Windows 365 portal web client, however you call it. Cool. Let's see. Do we have some questions? Let's see. Oh, one more question that came in. We're a small business using Windows 365, and so far so good. I have a user who wants to run insider builds of Windows 11. Is this possible? Do I have to reprovision the Cloud PC? Elaine, I'm gonna go back to you. I think this is your area. on images.
So I believe in your existing Cloud PC, you can, if the user's enrolled in the Insiders program, you can go to updates and pull down the bits there. If not, you can also, like, within your Cloud PC, go to the Windows Insiders website and download the bids there. Otherwise, reprovisioning is always a pain. I'm gonna recommend going down those paths too, or those two paths first. If not, then maybe reprovisioning, and maybe even like upload custom images, which is even more pain. But hopefully the first two would work. Yeah, let us know if it doesn't. And we are also potentially talking with the Insiders team to see if we can use the Cloud PC as, especially a platform to try out new Windows features. And if so, if you guys share that feedback with us, we'll dig even deeper into that area.
Great.
Perfect. So yeah, so I think you're suggesting in-place upgrade with Windows Insiders. Okay. Awesome. And then you all know where to go. W365 feedback. Oh man. Okay. Another question from community here. I have two Windows 365 business Cloud PCs running Windows 11. Are they in the same network? Can I share file folders on one with the other? For example, a QuickBooks database manager on one of them, and then connect with the other. I think I can answer that unless anyone has other insights here.
So you go take a stab at it.
Yeah. So I know that on business, we don't guarantee that any of your Cloud PCs, whether assigned to you or assigned to members of your organization, are on the same network. All our guarantee is that within your Azure AD geography, like just like how Office pulls down your geography and puts your info there, we do the same thing. So we don't guarantee kind of anything else aside from giving you a Cloud PC in that geography that your Azure AD organization is associated with. So because we don't guarantee same network, then there's no guarantee that you'll be able to share files or whatnot. And for us, this is actually more of a security not boundary, but security principle that we implemented. If you're using Windows 365 Enterprise and you manage the network, then it's up to you if you want to allow lateral move. I say lateral movement. That's a big security stuff, but lateral communications, I guess, is the best way to phrase it. So on Enterprise with your own network, you can, but business or Enterprise with the Microsoft hosted network, we actually specifically block that.
Just to add on, if that is something that they do need and they want to stay on business SKU, there's always the option of doing some type of VPN to connect both of those endpoints to share a common backend infrastructure.
Yeah, and I don't know enough about these applications. I don't know if these, the example was QuickBooks. I don't know enough about them to understand if there's some sort of online, web app option that you can connect to and have that shared experience. But yeah, it's a good suggestion. The VPN, we've seen a lot of customers use VPNs.
Very common.
Yeah, I mean, Don, I feel like that the VPNs, maybe less so in the business space, but in the enterprise space, I've seen a lot of VPNs being used with the Microsoft hosted network. Is that what you've been seeing too?
We're definitely seeing an uptick in adoption for that. Reason being is because it's just so stupidly easy to deploy. It's when you're looking at Microsoft hosted network, you don't even need to have a full Azure subscription. We just take care of it. It's just part of our service. If you're going to bring your own network, then you need to have that networking experience and understanding, the diagramming, the redundancy, all of that stuff. We take care of that all in-house for you if you go with the hosted. So most folks have already invested in a VPN solution since those have been around, forever. So we're definitely see an uptick. There are things to consider when going VPN. Full tunnel. Don't do that. Reason being, you'll end up dropping connections from your Cloud PC. Things don't work quite as well. But yeah, it's definitely a popular option. And so, I would encourage folks, if that's something you want to look at, absolutely do.
And speaking of the not full tunnel, Pavitha, I feel like this also applies to all the team stuff. What happens if you aren't like selectively routing traffic to the cloud and optimizing for that? Like, how is the team's experience there?
It's very glitchy. You don't want to do that. you know, uses all sorts of tricks to make sure network optimization is done, right?
Yeah.
They read your network, they make sure they are using the right kind of traffic and transportation to optimize for your network. They understand VDI layout, and we have our own optimization for audio video on top of the network optimization that Teams does. So don't mess with it. Don't mess with anything. Try to optimize more than what Teams and Windows 365 is already doing it for you for now, because you don't want to mess with. We have seen glitchy videos, especially on VPN, because of latency. I think most of the time VPN causes latency because of where the egress point for that particular network connection is. So as much as possible, try not to mess with your network connections if you're using Teams and things are working already.
Yeah, I feel like the general point is, for business customers mostly, or enterprise customers that aren't hosting anything specific on their network. Think about if you don't need to use VPN, zero trust strategy with Microsoft and other vendors is, VPNs are okay, because you don't have to put the actual device permanently on your network. But VPNs are okay. And then if you are using VPN, or you have reasons to use VPN, then it's just a suggestion of, while you're managing what endpoints are available through it, please, for your users, please take into account Teams, and also all of the communication that we need for the service, including all of the Azure Virtual Desktop endpoints. So if you're managing it, keep managing it, and then make it awesome for your users. So we have one final question for our MA today. How do I enable multiple displays in Windows 365? Ah, yes. All right, Pavitha, I'm going to defer to you here.
Yeah. So if you're using the RD client, I do believe we support multi monitors, and it's kind of hidden. The way you use it is you need to click on your Cloud PC and then right click on it, and it will show up settings. And then under settings, if you disable the default settings, then it'll pop up a new ribbon which basically says, how many settings do you want? How many monitors do you want to use? Do you want to use all your monitors, or you want to select the monitors that you want to use? So then you can go ahead and select how many multiple displays that you want to use for your connection. This is only available through the RD client app. It's not available on the web client currently, and I need to get back to you on whether this is available on a Windows 365 app or not. Maybe Donna, on that one.
I don't know on the 365 app.
Yeah.
I haven't been using it because I run 4 displays, but I use 2 for my Cloud PC and 2 for my physical. And the last time I checked it out, it was an all or nothing. So for me, it was a blocker.
I called you out, but it's actually same thing for me. I toggle between both displays. Sometimes I do need my local for other, just for like taking notes use, and then I have my whole display on the one side. So actually same thing. I know this is one of the biggest biggest feedback items for it, and also big feedback item for me. So I don't think it's there yet, but as soon as it's there, I will be using it. Yeah,
Same.
absolutely full time. Yeah. Awesome. Yeah. So thank you all, Elaine, Donna, Pavitha, for joining today. Hopefully folks that joined on the channel, on the stream, got your questions answered. Just a quick highlight on that ticker there. Please join us next month for a special edition featuring our government offerings for both Azure Virtual Desktop and Windows 365. And then, thanks for joining to kick off the year. And we'll see you next time. Thanks, everyone.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.